Hello and good evening, everyone who have joined us over here. I can see around 100 people have joined in 5 minutes in this session. I'm very glad to see that a lot of people are still joining. Before we start the session, I must have to say thanks to our guest of the day, Advocate Tariq Khan sir. Tariq Khan sir is a principal associate with Advani and Company, currently in their office at Defense Colony. Tariq Khan sir is also a member bar association and is a practicing advocate. He appear on original side and appellate side. More specifically, he is more involved in the best of arbitration matters which are happening in India in last many years. And in all these arbitration matters, he is briefing and he is doing by himself and also doing these arbitrations nationally and internationally also. He is involved in the most important arbitration matters which are happening in our country, and in all the arbitration litigations which are also happening in the appellate side in High Court and Supreme Court of India. Tariq sir is a graduate of law from Central University, Jamia Law Faculty, and thereafter he started his practice as an advocate and joined a lot of good firms and currently working with Advani and Company. During his law school time, he has been uh, an ardent mooter, head of the debate society. He established debate society in his law school time, in the law school, and with a lot of students around him, he made this possible that all the students from the law school go to a lot of places to do debates. In his law school time, he also participated in the best of the international moods, more specifically uh, Oxford Prize Media, which is one of the most quoted mood in media law in the world. And he appeared in that mood and argued in that mood. Also, after his law school time, he appeared for JAG examination, Judge Advocate General, which is a judicial officer in the army courts, and he also qualified the same up to the last levels, which is very unique feat. And with his personal choice, he opted to continue his practice, and then alongside his barrister career, he is more into arbitration and mediation sessions and process. He is also a very good author and writer. Tariq sir has written one of the best-selling book in India, which is published by Universal Law House. The name of the book is On the Rise, and we have the privilege of giving that book to all our students in our law school, and many of the law schools in India uh, who look at young lawyers of last 10 years. Tariq sir stands out as one of the pioneer person and one of the known persons who are passed out in last 10 years and have a name and have the courage and is speaking at every forums, not only in law schools, outside the law schools, in courtroom, in bar associations. Tariq sir has delivered a lot of lectures to advocates and senior advocates in bar associations on arbitration, on IBC, on a lot of other aspects which are of importance to practicing advocates also. With this short introduction of him, I would not take much time of you to interact with him and listen to him. He is a very good speaker and very ambitious in terms of his work and practice. And the best part is that he is a first generation lawyer, and whatever he has made is by his own effort, by his own hard work, and made a mark in the practice in a very short span of time. So he's uh, an inspiration for all of us, for academicians, for students, for practitioners. And with that perspective, we requested sir to take out this evening and interact with our students and aspirants who are looking to take law as a career anywhere in India, in any law school in India. But we have the responsibility to get guidance from the right people who are into practice, who are a guideline to all the law students in the coming time. Thank you so much, Tariq sir, for your time. Thank you so much, everyone who is participating in this session. Now I hand over the session to Tariq sir, and we have more than 116, 115 students joined this session. So a couple of students, more students will join, and now Tariq sir will take over the session. Thank you so much, sir.
Salim sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay. Thank you, Salim sir, for a wonderful introduction. In these times, hearing such good things from you, from such an established person, it made me smile and made me happy. Anyway, thank you everyone, firstly, for being present here. And I'm glad and I'm delighted that you have been able to take out time from your schedule, and for hearing me, you have been able to take out time. The topic which Salim sir has selected today, it is very dear to me, and I'm very happy that I'm getting an opportunity to speak on this. A, because it is something which is very close to my heart, because I like the motivating youngsters, aspiring lawyers like me, because I'm also somebody who's not that old in the profession. But I connect to the youngsters, and I always take privilege in interacting with young students, because I have been associated with academics for almost 5 years now, since I graduated from my law college, which is Faculty of Law, Jamia Millia Islamia. And the other reason is that mostly I'm invited for giving webinars on arbitration. So for a change, this is something very nice and interesting, because I don't have to prepare much, and I just have to be candid, and I have to interact with you all. So the idea of today's discussion, as Salim sir has told me, is to give you an insight as to what are the career prospects which are open to you all after pursuing a law degree and after getting a law degree, and how by merely having one degree in your hand, it opens a lot of avenues for you, it opens a lot of channels for you, and it makes diverse career options for you. So how it's going to benefit and what you should do, what choices you should make, all of that we are going to discuss today. But before I begin, let me just tell you, if you at any point of time feel that you have to ask any question, you may kindly send, I know you have been muted, but you can type in the chat box. I will try to answer that in my during my interaction with you. And if I miss it for some reason, I think in the end we are going to have an interactive session. That's what Salim sir has told me. Correct, Salim sir?
Yes, sir. Surely.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. So before I begin with the main discussion for the day, I'll take you back and I will start from the scratch, because I know most of you are advocates, perhaps are already in your law school. Some of you are preparing for law schools. So let me ask you, okay, I will answer this question. I'll not be generally my sessions are interactive, but I'll answer these questions because there are few questions which are there in our mind and which are the basics. So I will take you back to 3-4 basics about law. The first one being, what is law? We keep saying law as a profession, law as a career, but a lot of people, if I ask them that what is the definition of law according to you, so each person may or may not have a different definition, because I think it's inclusive and it is not conclusive. So what I understand the meaning of law as per me is, it is a rule of it's a set of rules which govern a particular society. So different societies, different countries may have different laws. Similarly, different states may have different laws. We call them state laws. There are central laws, and so on. So law is basically a set of rules which tells you how to behave in a society, how to live in a society, and how to respect the rights of other individuals and how to enjoy your own rights. Now, the second question that arises, the second basic question is, what is LL.B? Because I think the topic for the day is how to do everything with the LL.B degree. Many people do not know, even lawyers do not know what is the full form of LL.B. So many people say it's called Bachelor of Laws. It doesn't make sense because it is not BOL, it is LL.B. So LL.B stands for Legum Baccalaureus. So that's a maxim. You can read about it. It's pretty interesting. The idea is to always keep revisiting your basics and keep learning. Okay, the next question is, you all may have seen Lady Justice. Now, who's Lady Justice? You may have seen in Indian movies a statue with who's blindfolded, with a balance in hand and a sword. So many people do not know the logic behind it, but I'm going to clarify because it has come from the Greek mythology. Lady Justice is one of the goddess of justice, and the reason why she has blindfolded, because the idea of law is, the message is that the law will not see who's poor, who is rich, who is influential, who is male, who is female, what society you come from. So for law, all of you are equals. For justice, everybody is equal and justice is given accordingly. That's the logic behind keeping it blindfolded. Now, the second thing is, why do you think that Lady Justice has a balance in hand? The idea of balance is to ensure principles of natural justice, which means that both the sides will be given an opportunity to give their case, to put forward their case, and to be able to give their arguments in respect of their case. And Lady Justice will then balance the arguments which have been put forth by both the sides. Now, the third thing is the sword. So, the idea of having a sword in the hand of Lady Justice is that the Lady Justice has the power. So judiciary and justice has the power to implement the law strictly wherever required. So that's the long and short of all of this. Now, lastly, one more thing which I would like to tell you, and I know it's very basic, but I think it's pertinent, and I think all of us must know and always remember this at the back of our mind. The third thing which I would like to tell you is about law as a noble profession. So there are various noble professions in the world, like medicine. Similarly, law is also considered to be a noble profession. So legal profession is considered as a noble profession because we serve the society as lawyers and we meet the ends of justice. We help poor people get justice. We help the needy. We ensure that justice shall prevail, law is implemented, and we are the guardians of the law. And that's why in courts, sometimes the judges tell us that you are an officer of the court before anything else. So, as an officer of the court, it is our duty to ensure that justice shall prevail. I'll tell you something interesting. Many of you may have seen lawyers, foreign lawyers, barristers wearing a gown, a black color gown. If you see that gown which they wear, there is a pocket behind that gown, which is a small pocket in size. Nowadays, the ones that we wear in High Court, that pocket is stitched. No more the tradition is being followed. But that was the idea. Nobody knows. I think a lot of people may not know why that pocket is there in a gown. The reason for having that pocket is that back in United Kingdom, in London, when lawyers used to appear for a client, they would never ever charge any fees. The idea was that law was a noble profession, and the client, after the case was over, would put any amount of money, some pennies, some coins, in that pocket, and the lawyer would not get to see what the person is putting. Similarly, the pocket of the senior counsels who were good and who were recognized as excellent lawyers was much larger in size, and that's why if you see today also, the pocket of the senior advocates in Delhi in Supreme Court, you will see the pocket is much larger than the ones that we wear. Okay, so that is the long and short of law as a profession, because it is a noble profession. So when you think of doing law, you should know your duty is to it's your moral obligation to ensure that you serve the society, especially the weaker section of the society. Now, moving forward, why should one person choose law as a career? The reason is that I remember back when I was in my 12th college, I was a science student and I perhaps couldn't clear engineering exams. I don't know, it was pretty tough, and I'm glad that I didn't make it, because I had some issues with maths. So that's when I thought that I will be doing law as a career. And Jamia was a college which I thought I will be choosing due to various reasons. One was that national law schools at that time, and I don't know, perhaps even today, the fees was a major issue, because I think the private colleges sometimes, like national law schools, though there is a tag which people say that if you are going to a national law school, then it is presumed that you are an excellent. That mindset is there. But I, on the other hand, it's my personal view, I disagree. I think it depends on the college which is focusing on the practical aspects. So that is what one must look at. The all colleges are same. I don't think there is any difference. The only thing one must keep in mind is which college will give me the practical insights of the profession, and accordingly make a choice. So I had my reasons. I did law from Jamia, and when I joined Jamia, I was not aware about the basics of law. I had various issues. I had issues with language. I was not very comfortable speaking in English language, and I had stage fright, etc., etc. So, in spite of all of this, I had no particular thing in mind that what I'm going to do after I finish my law school. A lot of law school students perhaps are confused throughout their law career that what I will do after 5 years. And most importantly, the ones who are in their final year, they are clueless. And I think sometimes it's a good sign that you are confused, you are concerned, you are worried. But in my view, idea is that your endeavor should be to work hard and to ensure that you are not leaving any stone unturned, and then let things happen on their own. So, let things take their natural course sometime. That is the thing. Anyway, coming to the other aspect, I would like to tell you about something. Sorry, I think I missed you. Yeah. So I was going to tell you, why should you choose law as a career? Because there are three organs of the government, namely legislature, executive, and judiciary. In my view, law is the only career option that if you choose it, you will be able to go to any of these three. You can either go into judiciary, you can either go into legislative, or you can go into the executive. I don't think there is any other career choice or career option which will give you this kind of opportunity, wherein uh, I have a question. Okay, somebody has asked a question regarding doing law from private college. See, the idea, like I told you, that it completely depends on the college that you are joining. I'll give you an illustration. For instance, I am teaching at Lloyd Law College, and many people think that national school tag is there. But when I went to Lloyd Law College and I saw the way they are teaching, the practical aspects, many senior advocates, many judges coming, retired judges are teaching there. I am teaching arbitration there. So I realized that that misconception is wrong. That if it's a private college, you should always consider a government college. All of that is, I think, a misconception. You do your own research. You find out for yourself how is the faculty that is teaching in that college, and accordingly you take a call. Because I think it matters most that you don't run after the name, you run after the faculty who's going to teach you for the next 5 years. Now, moving forward, I would like to highlight briefly that what are the challenges that the students face when they are studying in law college, and how they should shape up their career, and what are the things they should do and they should not do. See, I mean, there may be people who have already crossed that stage. You may be in your final year, or perhaps some of you might be lawyers. But I'll just give my own experience. See, I was in Jamia, and things were pretty difficult sometimes, because people say that the other law colleges were giving a lot of good infrastructure, and a lot of uh, good options were there, and good good access to good library, etc., and different softwares. But at the end of the day, I feel when you join a college, it is on yourself how you want to go forward. I mean, it depends from person to person. There cannot be a fixed formula that every student from a certain law college will do excellent. I mean, I feel that if you are in a college where you get to do things on your own, where you are given that kind of comfort, where you are given that kind of freedom, then you are able to excel, and you do much, much better than you can imagine. Now, what are the activities in law college that you must always keep in mind? And I think it's very important for law students to participate in all these co-curriculum activities, namely debates, moot courts, internships. And I feel that these are extremely relevant because when you are doing any internship, you are getting the practical insights of the career of the legal profession. And accordingly, one must make his or her mind that I should be open to all. There are some people who, when they join law college, they make up their mind that if I do law from certain college and if I get a law degree, I want to become a judge. So let's first discuss what are the career options which are available to lawyers once you finish with your law school. As you know, there are two kinds of degrees. One is LLB degree and the other is BA LLB degree. BA LLB is when you join right after your 12th exam and you do law for 5 years. You are also taught BA subjects. Whereas the LLB degree is for 3 years, wherein if you have done graduation from some college, and then you can join a law degree for 3 years. Okay, now let's discuss as to how many options are open to a law student who has a law degree in hand. So, firstly, I think a lot of people obviously consider judiciary as one of the amazing options which a person wants to pursue, and many students perhaps join law college because they want to be a judge. Apart from that, some interesting options would be becoming a lawyer, practicing in the courts, or becoming a corporate lawyer, or perhaps becoming a general counsel. A general counsel is somebody who works in a company and is the head of the legal department of a particular company. Similarly, you can have NGOs because there are many lawyers who are working for the social welfare of the weaker sections, and they have perhaps started their own NGOs, etc. So that field is also open for you, social welfare. And okay, I have a question. Okay, all these questions I'll address once the session is over, but I'll keep looking at your questions in the meantime and try to cover them. So apart from these, there are other career options which are open to you. For instance, you can go to Indian Army. How you join an Indian Army, like Salim sir told you about me. I had given there's something called JAG, Judge Advocate General, and if you give that exam, you have to clear the SSB. I made it to the conference of SSB. I cleared the preliminary and other rounds. So JAG is an excellent option for those who want to first become a judge in the army and who want to serve the country and join the army. So that's another option for you if you pursue law and if you have a law degree. Apart from that, you can also become an author. You can write on law subject. You can write on other subjects because there have been many writers, freedom fighters. There have been various politicians who were lawyers. For instance, if I mention a few of them, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Mahatma Gandhi ji, and Abraham Lincoln, Franz Kafka, all of them were lawyers. And I remember Mr. Ram Jethmalani saying once that any country which is willing to make a mark must have many lawyers in the parliament. So if you see a lot of politicians in our country, they are lawyers, they are doing so well. I'll name some of them. If you see Mr. Kapil Sibal, Mr. Salman Khurshid, Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, and Mr. P. Chidambaram, they're all fine lawyers. They are the top lawyers of the country and they are serving the nation. They're also into politics. So the field of politics is also open to all of you, just in case some of you have any ambitions of becoming a politician. Apart from that, if I look at the litigation side of it, the court side of it, then I feel that not just it's very very wide. Like Salim sir told you, I am doing arbitration, I am doing insolvency and bankruptcy, but that is just one drop in the ocean. There are so many fields which you can practice in and you can pursue if you have a law degree. For instance, you may specialize in criminal law, you may specialize in civil law, you may have expertise in IPR, which is intellectual property rights. You can do property matters, you can do contract matters, corporate law, company law, tax matters. So it is very, very vast. And there's too much of scope. I mean, there are so many opportunities for lawyers, youngsters who are willing to make a mark. There is no dearth of opportunities for lawyers. Yes, Initially, it may appear to be daunting. The field may look very intimidating, because a lot of times students and youngsters feel, even the young lawyers have this thing in their mind. They feel that I don't have anybody in the profession. Nobody from my family is a lawyer. I'm a first generation lawyer. How will I be able to make a mark? How is anybody going to help me? Because a lot of times what happens is that we feel that we need a push in the career. But I think that's a very wrong perception, because at the end of the day, it's not who you know, it's what you know that gets you ahead in the profession. So the idea is that you believe in yourself, and you need to know that if you're working hard, then there is no substitute, and your command over the subject, your interest in a particular subject will determine your future, will determine your career. So far as you are not willing to compromise on the hard work, I don't think there is anything stopping you. I mean, if I have not seen anybody who has worked hard and has not achieved the feat in the career, or has not reached where he or she wanted to go. So, apart from these options, there are certain other interesting career options which I will tell you. One of them is very interesting. That is legal journalism. Now, what is legal journalism? So, if you see, there are certain popular journals, there are online portals like Bar and Bench, Live Law, even these, magazines, legal magazines, and the newspapers. They have a lawyer in place who covers all the legal matters and who do the reporting in respect of the legal matters. So that is also a very interesting career option for people who are interested in journalism. They may also pursue that career by going into legal journalism. I'll give you an illustration. For instance, Mr. Karan Thapar, there used to be one very interesting show that he used to do, The Devil's Advocate. So if you haven't seen it, you may go on YouTube, you may see it, how he conducted with the top lawyers of the country, and it is very enriching and very interesting. Now, apart from that, there is another option of being an academician. So many of us, including myself, I am practicing advocate. I am also a writer. I write for Bar and Bench Live Law. I'm writing columns. I'm a columnist. I have also authored a book, and that is on uh, law students for aspiring lawyers. And in that book, my endeavor was, I will also discuss briefly about my book, that what was the idea behind that book. The idea behind that book was that there are people who do not have any role model or perhaps any guardian angel who will help them in achieving a particular feat in their career, or who will guide them that what career path to follow. Sometimes the issue that we face is that many people are not having that kind of courage to approach people, and they are introverts, and they feel shy, they are underconfident perhaps, and they feel that no, I will not be going to the person and asking for some guidance. Especially for those people, what I thought that I should come up with something, because during my college days, I felt that there was a lacuna, there was a gap in relation to the career guidance. And therefore, I went up to people who are having a law degree, but they are practicing in different fields. So I covered 25 individuals, and I'll tell you, for instance, so one of them was a judiciary topper, DJS topper, Delhi Judicial Service. I went up to him because I thought that some students may want to take guidance from a judge. So I took his story as one story. The other story that I took was for people who are working for the welfare of the people, who are doing very good at national level, on NGOs, etc. So that was the second story which I took, because many of you are pursuing law because you want to serve the society, and because you feel that it is not a case, it is a cause, and you believe in that cause. Similarly, I took certain general counsels. Now, who are general counsels? I told you, the lawyers of companies, these multinational corporations, they are heading the department of the legal team. So you can also do that as your career option, because you can join a company, people are being paid like anything. You have to manage the affairs of the company, you have to take care of the legal matters, you have to vet all the agreements, you have to ensure that companies' compliances are done, and all of that. So I covered also those people, because many students want to join a company and they don't want to practice law in court. So that notion must go that if you have a law degree, you can only practice in the court of law. you may never have to step in the court. Now, the other option is that I covered certain people from various law firms, the tier one firms, the top law firms, because as you know, many students find it very attractive and very, very fancy. Because you may all have seen that Netflix show called Suits or Boston Legal. You may all be knowing who's Harvey Specter. So, if you've seen him, you've seen how corporate law firms work. Everything is very lavish, and the comfort is there, but late night working and wearing the best of the suits and attire, and very nice corporate culture, parties, etc. So all of that happens, yes, and that happens in firms which are corporate firms, wherein you get to be a part of a large and huge firm. They pay very high salaries also. So yeah, that can be a very attractive career option, because you don't have to go to the court for that also, and you only have to do the corporate work in a law firm, which may be lucrative depending on what is your priority. For some of you, the priority may be the money part of it. For some people, the learning may be the priority. For some people, the priority may be success, fame, knowledge. It can be anything. So I cannot tell you right now, that there is a fixed straight jacket formula for becoming successful or for joining a particular field, or that you join this and don't join that. So that's why I always advise people that during your law school, you experiment. And how you experiment? I'll give you an example. I have seen in Lloyd Law College, what they have done is they have a practice of having various cell. Like they have a cell for arbitration, they have a cell for criminal, they have a cell for judiciary. So different groups, and they have put mentors for all of that. So a person can get the practical ideas of all these different fields during the law school. So that is one thing which I appreciate, which I love, because I think that in many colleges, nobody is touching upon the practical aspects of law and not giving you an insight. Professionals are not coming, not telling you what it is. All you are getting is the bookish knowledge, which I feel is not very relevant. At the end of the day, all that matters is the practical aspects, and how, what is your understanding of the law as a subject as a whole, which I feel a professional may be able to explain better. And sometimes I feel that it is extremely necessary that some of the subjects must be taught to the students by the people who are practicing advocates. And that is one thing which I love about Lloyd, because I haven't seen that happening in many law colleges. Now, telling you about the firm culture, yes, for some of you, the priority may be that, look, I have no ambitions to become a who's who. I don't want to be the top, but my priority is that I want to make a lot of money. So someone like that may be interested in joining perhaps a tier one firm, which is paying you a lot of salary, a good amount of money at the initial years, so that there's no struggle as such. Whereas there may be a person who wants to go for litigation, who see people like Mr. Fali S. Nariman, Mr. Ram Jethmalani, Mr. Harish Salve as his or her role model, and you may want to become like them. But to be very honest, the litigation side is it's very, very difficult to make a mark, because I'm not discouraging anybody. The only thing is that if you're willing to give your blood, sweat, and tears, then I can assure you, you will make a mark in the profession. Initial years might be slightly difficult. Yes, there may be some struggle, but if you are ready to struggle for the first few years, then you will be rewarded in such a way that you may not have even thought about. At least I didn't think about the things that I have experienced and I'm getting now. When I was in back then, when I was in law school, I never imagined that I will be today discussing all of this with you. So yeah, that's okay. Somebody has asked a question, interesting question. What are the career opportunities after LLM? Okay, I'll address that also. So many times what happens is that there are people who want to pursue masters, and they feel that if we go for masters, we may end up getting a good job, etc. So like I was telling you, in my book, I also covered a person who's practicing as a foreign lawyer in a foreign law firm. So if you want to become international, if you want to practice law abroad, like I remember in a recent discussion, Salim sir told me very recently, one of his student from Lloyd, was sent on a full scholarship to Penn State University in Pennsylvania. And then she cleared the New York bar examination, and now she's practicing there. So LLM can be very beneficial, but the only difficulty that I see in LLM is that if you are doing it from a foreign university, cost aspect is a major concern. So far as you're not taking a loan, I think it's a good idea. There is no harm in doing it. I didn't go for a master's because I always thought that, I mean, I did not have the money, frankly, and I thought it was not a good idea to go for masters and spend a lot of money, because sometimes if you're planning a master's in UK, for instance, the amount may be around 25 lakhs. And similarly, if you're planning in Singapore, it may be 15, 20 lakhs. In US, 50 lakhs. So yeah, that's the idea behind considering all these things. You have to consider beforehand before you take a final call on these aspects. Now, if you are doing masters from, of course, if you have ambitions to become a teacher, because nowadays you see, after a law degree, it's an amazing career option to become a teacher, to run a law school, and to be an academician. And you can also contribute immensely towards the towards a particular subject. Like some of the academicians in the country who are very popular, who have made a name for themselves, they are contributing to, for instance, death penalty reforms, the law on the point, then IPR. So they are writing regularly. Their papers are being quoted in the court of law. Even Supreme Court has, in some judgments, acknowledged the efforts of these academicians. So now, do not think that if you become an academician, no, it's not as fancy as becoming Mr. Ram Jethmalani. That perception must go. I remember one of my interaction with a very, very senior and renowned judge of the Supreme Court of United States, wherein he mentioned that the problem with India is that in India, they do not give equal respect to academicians if you compare them with judges. Judges are given more preference, more respect. And that is why the quality of teachers if you compare in Germany, United Kingdom, and India, you will see the difference. So the idea is, they said that people must understand that academicians play the most important role in our lives, because the seed of law grows and is nurtured in a law school. So the people who are teaching us, that's why my emphasis is again and again on who is going to be your faculty for the 5 years or for 3 years in the law school. That is the thing that you have to consider while considering a law school. Do not run after the tag. Tag is not going to help you. There are many people from the top and the finest law colleges who may not be getting any job at all. So this thing you must consider, and I think it's a good idea to always consider which college is highlighting on the practical aspects of law. Now, if you want to pursue a career in academics, for instance, where you can write books, you can teach, you can contribute to the various government initiatives, and can make a difference in a particular subject or in a particular field, then what you must do is, then LLM is mandatory. Again, you have to take that call whether you want to do the LLM from India or you want to do it from abroad. So these are the things. Somebody has asked me a question. Shivangi is saying what all aspects should be considered while choosing a law school. Very interesting question. So in my view, the most important thing is you see which college is going to give you the practical knowledge. Do not run after a tag. It doesn't matter whether it is a LLU or it's a non-NLU. In my view, all of them are same. You need to see and find out yourself which is the faculty that is teaching in that college, how the students are taking initiatives from that college. And honestly, I think, I'll give you an illustration. So for instance, there was, okay, like for instance, if I am the one who's teaching in a law college, like I taught in ILI long back, and now I'm teaching at Lloyd. So if you would want to interact with somebody like me over this webinar, it can be a 1 hour discussion. But where I'm teaching, the students can approach me almost on a very weekly basis whenever, because I go on Sundays. Uh, I mean, your interaction with the faculty will shape up your career, and I think will make a mark. That can be one criteria. You'll have to do some research. And second thing, you must keep in mind the focus of the college on the practical aspects. I'm again emphasizing because there are thousands of law schools in the country, and I don't think many of these law colleges are focusing on uh, you know on the simple aspect. So yeah, I think they are not many law colleges do not emphasize on the practical knowledge. So wherever you are getting the practical knowledge, because tomorrow if you go for a job, and if somebody like me is sitting and interviewing you, I would expect you to know some practical aspects. You should know how to brief senior. Perhaps you may have read judgments. You should know how the court procedure functions, how drafting is done. So I don't think all of this is taught in many law schools, but I think this experience will definitely help. And doing additional courses apart from the college which you are in, I think that will help. For instance, like ILI, Indian Law Institute, has a course, PG diploma in ADR. I think that kind of courses can help. Or perhaps Harvard and all have some online courses. You can join those courses also. But during your law school, your focus should be on experimenting and seeing various aspects. In the first year, do not say, I want to be a civil lawyer. Like, I'll tell you about myself. When I was in first year, I said I will be a criminal lawyer. And today I don't practice criminal at all. And imagine if after my law career, I would have gone for masters in criminal and spent all that money or taken a loan, I would not have been practicing criminal law. And I would still be doing what I am doing, arbitration. So that could have been a major issue. And my money would have gone waste, and my 1 year of masters would have gone waste. So always remember, if you are considering doing masters, you must have some experience on the subject. Because when you pursue your career, if you join right after your law college, if you start working for a year or two, then you are able to make a mind, you're able to understand that this field is going to be my future. And now I think it's a better idea to go and do masters in this field. And I think that's the call one has to take again, considering which career option you want to go for. If you want to settle abroad, if you want to, okay, a question has come. How is LLM from India? So Kanya has asked an interesting question. How LLM from India will be different from LLM in India, foreign university. So like I said, that if you are going to a foreign university, of course, it will broaden your horizons. Yes, depending on which university you are going to. If it's just a private university which is giving you, it's not in the Ivy League, for instance, and you are going by spending 50 lakhs. So I am not sure. I mean, I don't think how you'll be able to use it. But if you are, of course, going to Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, then nothing like it. But again, what matters is that whether you've got any scholarship or you're fully funding it yourself. So that is the aspect. Otherwise, the LLM degree at the end of the day is an LLM degree. If you want to apply somewhere in India as a teacher, or you want to clear because LLM is mandatory if you want to be a teacher. But in litigation, I don't think LLM will be any use. I mean, subject to correction, because I don't feel that there is any need. LLM is going to basically broaden your horizons and give you more of the jurisprudence of the subject, which has less applicability in the practical field, in my view. Okay, how can we use forensic science in law? It's a very good question. Forensic science you can become a forensic expert. Experts are being engaged in many matters nowadays, in civil matters, in criminal matters, and many of them are doing wonderful. There are agencies which are doing specifically forensic science in cross-examination in murder cases. For resolving that, forensics is playing a very, very vital role, especially in cyber offenses. People are being engaged, they are being paid like anything. And even in arbitration, we are engaging experts. So I think that's one thing, that's a good field, that's a good and upcoming field. And somebody asked me, what are those forensic companies? Forensic companies would be companies like PwC, for instance, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and there are many more which are doing this forensics, KPMG, and perhaps many other. So I think before my time expires, I think I am just going to wind up in the next 5 minutes, and then we can have few questions. Salim sir, are you there? I'm sorry, I think I have almost exceeded my time.
Yes, sir, I am here.
Okay, sir. Yes, so I think I'll just finish in 5 minutes, sir.
Yes, sir. Please take your time.
Yes, sir. So what I was telling you is that apart from that, you may also join the government and work closely with the government organizations. You can join the law ministry, and you can join other organs of the government, wherein you can help the government with their legal matters. You can be a government counsel, and some of you can also perhaps consider a career in which I think it's a very good option, uh, going for writing. I think it will be a very good option also, because there are people who are very fond of writing, but they think that after doing law, how they will go about it. So in nutshell, law opens up a variety of options for you. I don't think any other profession can open up so many diverse fields, because litigation in itself is very, very vast. Like I gave you examples: civil law, criminal law, constitutional law, IPR, taxation, IBC, arbitration. And these fields also have more fields in them. For instance, if I talk about arbitration itself has many divisions. Like there are different types of arbitration. For instance, maritime arbitration, international arbitration, domestic arbitration, MSME arbitrations, sports arbitration, bilateral investment treaty arbitrations. So these are all different fields of arbitration itself. And there are law firms which are specifically dealing with one aspect. For instance, there are law firms or lawyers who are only doing um, sports arbitration. Similarly, if you want to serve the environment, if you are somebody who's an activist, I think for activists also who want to make a difference, you can do PILs after becoming a lawyer, like Mr. Prashant Bhushan, Mr. MC Mehta. These people are all lawyers who are activists also, and renowned and working for the betterment of the society. Uh, Apart from that, if you see NGT, National Green Tribunal, which is specifically taking care of the matters for protection of environment, you can pursue that as a career option, environment law. And you can go into the policy making, you can go into the, assist. You can also be a court assistant, you can assist a judge, that is also one of the career options for you, by becoming a junior to a judge, and you will be a judicial clerk, and you're being paid like anything, and you're learning the law directly from the judge himself. So that's also, I think, one of the finest options. And apart from that, I've explained to you corporate law, teaching, going for JAG, becoming a judge in the army, and some of them have also clarified IAS, IPS after becoming law, because most of the subjects are, I think, synonymous, and I think the syllabus is in line, because when you read law as a subject, you're reading many subjects for 5 years. So all of that helps in the syllabus of the IAS and IPS. I think that is a very interesting career option for many people. Okay, and there are other career options also which a person might consider. See, I think somehow everything that I think of has something to do with law. If you talk about being a politician, being a legal journalist, like I said, writer. So law is everywhere, and I think you don't have to worry if you have a law degree. There's enough for you. All you need to do is you need to be focused, and you need to see which is the right field for you, and then stick on that path. Do not keep changing after the law college. Stick to one field, give your best, make a contribution, make a mark in that particular field, and then eventually after a period of certain years, you will be realized, and people will recognize your contribution in that field, and they will perhaps acknowledge the same. So that's the long and short of this. uh, if now you have any questions, I see a lot of questions coming. I think okay, there are many questions. Just one second, let me open the chat box. Just one second. I think there are many questions. Okay. I think I'll start taking one by one. What is the name of the book that you have written? Bhumika has asked this question. The book is called On the Rise. On the Rise. It's basically stories of young legal professionals in India, especially for aspiring lawyers, so that they can make their career choices easily. The next question is, how were the last year placement of BA LL.B of Lloyd Law College? I may not be able to give that information. You may get in touch with Salim sir. But what I can say is that I mean, I know the students myself, and they've interned with me. So I think the students are doing pretty well. And rest you can perhaps ask Salim sir about it, or you can get in touch with the college. Okay, so Kanya's question I've answered. LLM from India and LLM from abroad. Yes, I told you doing it from abroad will make it easier for you if you want to work in a foreign law firm. If you have prospects of teaching in a foreign university, I think then in these cases it is a must to do it from there. Forensic law also I've answered. Since lawyers are prohibited from advertising, how will a litigant decide to engage any first generation lawyer? Ritik has asked me this question. Good question, Ritik. The thing is that, like, I am also a first generation lawyer. The idea is that you keep writing in the field of law. Publications play a very important role. You make yourself, your virtual presence by delivering talks, lectures, and if you are being invited by various organizations on a particular subject, then you are gaining recognition in the society, and it is a very small fraternity. Everybody knows everybody. So if you have mastered one particular subject, then eventually when a matter of that kind will come, people will come to you. uh, do not worry about that, but idea is that you need to be the expert of that subject, and you need to make contributions towards that subject. Okay, Manisha has asked a question that I've answered. uh, Bhumika, what is the name? I've answered. How can we make? Okay, very interesting question from Ayush. How can we make quick money just after LLB? I've told you, Ayush, most of the law firms, the tier one law firms, they pay you good salaries, very good packages. So I think the good idea can be to join them. And even otherwise, I think nowadays in everybody is paying pretty decent nowadays. So whatever profession you choose, I think. But yes, law firms are paying the most. Okay, sir, I'm in first year of law. Anushri is asking me, please tell me, is it a good idea to do the course of company secretary? Yes, Anushri, company secretary with BLLB is an excellent uh, combination, especially in insolvency and bankruptcy, especially because you have advantage over the others. Like a person like me does not know much about the company law, but if you have that advantage, I think there is a lot of work of companies, due diligence, compliances under the Companies Act, all of that you can do. So I think it's an excellent combination, company secretary with BLLB, especially in the insolvency and bankruptcy, National Company Law Tribunal. Your practice, you can do an excellent, you can make a mark there. Okay. Uh, uh, Somebody has asked me, as a young lawyer, we are facing lack of problems financially. Yes, that's correct. Like I told you, initial years, you have to take a call. There is some struggle involved, including the financial, because in litigation chambers, salaries are not very high. But like I said, I mean, if you can, uh, you know, uh, deal with it for first few years, then I'm telling you, you will have an inspiring story like many other seniors. Okay. Is there need of practice in courts for JAG? No, that's not required, Umar. You can immediately after your law degree apply. There are notifications on the Indian Army website. Every 6 months they keep coming. There is an eligibility criteria. You need to have, I think, 55% in your LLB degree. And all you need to be is you need to be a lawyer registered with Bar Council. That's it. Whether you have practice or not, it is irrelevant. Okay, so the online courses that you have given by virtual portals, well accepted, recognized by private institutions. See, the courses that I told you about, they are to broaden your horizons. Like if you are able to, for instance, if you want to make a mark in IPR, so in your law college, IPR will be taught just like any other subject, the generic part. But if you join a recognized course, like I told you about Indian Law Institute, then it will help you because you would be only doing classes in that subject. So it depends if you want to do any expertise, or if you want to show that, in your CV, that I was interested in this subject and look, I have done these additional qualifications. So it will add up to your CV and profile. Okay, next question is, how can I be a lawyer in army? I told you what you have to do. You have to, JAG is the only option that I know. I have this question that I'm really worried about. Okay, somebody how do we get our opportunities that we are losing right now, as we are not able to do any internships in our last semester due to the pandemic going on? Nikhil, I must answer this question. See, there are people who want to do internships. They have applied for virtual internships. You can do the same. Nowadays, even I approved 3 virtual interns. I think it's a great idea. So you must consider that. Okay, Ritik Yogesh Pandey to me. Okay, this I have answered. Anushri, I have answered your question. Sachin Singh. what are the things that we should keep in mind while doing internships? I think you must always remember that you you are basically, as an intern, trying to see what are the practical aspects, so you will be able to be clear in your mind whether you want to do this or not. So when I was doing a criminal internship, I was like, this I don't think is for me. So internships help you in ascertaining whether you want to pursue that career or not. So I interned in a corporate law firm. I interned in under a tax lawyer. So I was able to, it was easy for me to then choose and winnow down what career options I don't want to pursue and what options I want to pursue. So that's the idea. Okay, next question. Last year students having most fears, are how deal with this? Shubham, it's very natural and it is absolutely fine if you are having fear and if you are confused. It's a good sign. But the idea is that you believe in yourself and you keep trying. Do not think that in just one interview you will get a job. Keep applying everywhere, stay updated, know the law, and I don't think there is anything stopping you then. Karan has asked me a question. During the time of COVID, digitalization of courts vis-a-vis employment opportunity, I think we are yet to see, because I think the future of justice is online, and therefore I feel that these artificial intelligence, digitalization of courts, it's a very very good upcoming field. People who are interested might consider it in some way. Even the entrepreneurs, I forgot to mention one field also. So developing apps and doing your own entrepreneur, like 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐄, hype leaders, they are also doing very well. They are all lawyers and they are doing an excellent job. So I think that is also one of the career options. Okay, all these questions I've answered. Do we have any other questions? Last few questions. So please give your contact number. I have many doubts for what to do after 12th, confused in many course. See, the idea is that if you are confused after your 12th, then you must, there is an interview which I have given on Super Lawyer. You may see that. I think that might help you in some manner, perhaps. Sir, LL.B and LL.M after engineering. I think after engineering, it is an excellent thing to do because, in arbitration, we have so many contracts, like construction contracts. And I think engineering terms will give you an upper edge because all of them revolve around delay, payment terms, and, these measurements, etc. So I think for construction lawyers, it is an excellent advantage for, knowing the subject of engineering. Okay, last few questions are, okay, Ritik has again asked me, Ritik, too many questions. Noor Sabha has asked me a question. Good evening, sir. Please tell how to qualify Jamia LLM entrance exam. Noor Sabha, I think the books that you may refer to, there are books by Universal, wherein you get a guide, you get sample questions. So you must read that. And I think it might be simple. It may not be very difficult. Know your basics must be clear, because for an LLM exam, I don't think apart from basics, anything else is asked for. So you should be clear on CPC, CRPC, evidence, and all these subjects which are being taught, including the Constitution. So I think solving these objective questions is the best thing to do. Okay, last question I'm taking by Pooja Kumari. I want to pursue MSc Criminology. Will it be worthy? See, that depends. Should I wait for a year before applying for JAG, or should I apply as soon as I get my license? As soon as you get enrolled, Pooja, you can apply for JAG. There's no harm in that. And pursuing MSc Criminology is not bad, provided that you are thinking of doing criminology and you are willing to learn the jurisprudence of criminology. Importance of English language and law as a career. Vedansh, good question. I did not know English language until 12th. I worked on it, but I don't think it's very important because knowledge of law is the most important thing. But yes, you must know the basics so that you are able to argue in high court. In high court, you can't argue in Hindi. So little bit of English is important, yes. But eventually, if you read that much, you read judgments, I think you will be able to understand all of that. With this, I think we can call it a day. Thank you very much, guys. We have had good questions. Salim sir, over to you.
Thank you so much, Tariq sir, for such a nice session. I saw one person have raised a hand for the question.
Yes, sir.
Is he still here to ask the question?
Okay, so can you tell me what is the question?
Someone raised the hand for the question. Mr. Pranav Kumar, Pranav Kumar, I think.
Yes, sir.
Amit Kumar. Yes, please,
Yes,
Amit. I'm unmuting you. You can ask the question now.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I have a question to ask that if I'm applying for LLM in foreign universities, then what will make my application to be preferred over others? For example, if I have good research papers published in by good publishers, or practicing in courts or firms.
I think for a foreign degree, what is most important is your statement of purpose, how you draft your SOP. I think that is one thing which is the only criteria which they consider, apart from the letter of recommendation which you are giving, the 2 LORs which are required. In your statement of purpose, how you say why you want to pursue this, what is your intention behind applying in that particular university. So that has to be very carefully drafted. If it is impressive and if it is unique, then you will easily get through.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Anyone else having any question? Just raise the hand. I will unmute you and then you can ask the question.
People are thanking messages. Thank you messages. Thanks, Anushri. How do we apply for virtual internship? Okay. Virtual internships, like any other internship, when you apply for an internship, you simply say, I want to do a virtual internship with your firm. Kindly let me know if it is possible. It's like any other application. But all you are saying is that because of the lockdown, I can't come down to your office. So I'm going to apply for a virtual internship and I can work from home for interns. Yeah. How to overcome from introvert and shy? Okay, good question. So I think lack of confidence is something which is in every one of us. So when people say they are introvert, in my view, it is lack of confidence. You can work on it by reading and by becoming strong on the subject. And when you know everything about a particular subject, if I ask you something, for instance, you ask me today about criminal law, I may not be able to speak much because I don't know. I'm not confident about criminal law because I've not read it. So the more you read and the more you speak to people, you interact with them, you discuss the law on point, you get more clarity, you get more confidence. And being introvert is not bad, but I think in this profession, at least, the idea is to meet people of your interest, of your areas, and networking is very, very important. So please do not be introvert, be confident, and never underestimate yourself. Nobody is better than you. Nobody is, if you consider, do not compare yourself with anybody. Everybody is doing excellent in their own realm, in their own field. But the idea is to stay positive and stay motivated. So be confident and do not be an introvert when it comes to going ahead, interacting with people. And if you see somebody, for instance, you go up and you talk to them, you discuss if you need any job, perhaps any internship opportunity. Do not be afraid in approaching people. Yeah.
There's a question from Mr. Birendra Agrawal. I'm unmuting him, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Birendra.
Sir, first of all, Salim sir, must really thank you for holding all these webinars. Very enterprising, sir. And really, today we feel proud that we have chosen to be a part of Lloyd. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
And sir, I've been hearing you in arbitration class and other seminars where you have been allowing us access. Thank you so much, sir, taking care of us not only in class. Sir, I have a question. Would you recommend a career change at senior management level from a normal management to a legal field?
See, I've seen that happening, and it completely depends on the person and the interest of the person. If you have opportunities, there are people when they retire. There are people who are IPS officers, who are Navy officers, who are doing arbitrations now. Some of my students in ILI were retired. One of them was a retired commissioner of police. So there is no age for changing your profession, changing your career. At the end of the day, it depends on your interest. Many army officers I've seen now, they are practicing law after retirement. And if you feel that you are not interested, you're not enjoying the work that you are doing, then why not? Unless there are certain financial constraints which will stop you from doing so. But I think you should always pursue your passion, no matter what.
Any more questions from anyone?
I think we have exceeded the time already, and people.
Yes. We started at 6:10 also, and we are ending at 6:10. So thank you everyone for coming to this session and participating in this session. It was such a nice, okay, Mr. Ayush Tamrakar. I'm unmuting Mr. Ayush. You had asked a lot of questions, so I'm giving you one chance to ask questions. Yes, Mr. Ayush.
There's one question from Raghav, sir. Raghav was asking, should I do BBA, LLB, or I think some question was there from some Raghav.
Yes, sir, please.
I'll just see that question, sir.
Yes,
just
sir.
give me.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Can you please make one webinar on cyber law?
Cyber law is not my area of interest, unfortunately.
No,
But,
I'm asking to that other sir.
Yeah, I will. Which we already have a cyber law regular classes by Mr. Gokul Narayan. So those classes will start from tomorrow again for LL.B. third year students. So you can join there.
Okay, I think there are one or two more questions. Raghav has asked BBA, LLB or BCom LLB. See, it completely depends. As long as you're getting a law degree, there's not much difference whether you are doing BBA, LLB. You need to just see the syllabus of both, and whichever interests you more, that is something you must do. And again, I told you the college, that you have to see which college is offering the best course and which is focusing more on the practical aspects and the faculty that is teaching in that college. There are one or two last questions. Just 1 second. I'll go to the chat again. Okay, there is one. Tariq sir, how to make discussions interactive like you. Good. The idea is that I'm glad that you find it interactive. The idea is to always participate and take inputs from others, and that's how it's always good to have discussions, because we all learn from each other. Like I've been learning from you also. Yeah, Keshav, that's the long and short of it. Benazir is saying you're a natural presenter, and message was very clear and very informative. Thank you, Benazir, for your kind words. Does BBA, LLB? Is anybody else saying anything? BBA, LLB? How to prepare for entrance exams? Does BBA help in corporate? Yes, BBA, LLB will help in corporate aspect. See, at the end of the day, it's what you know that moves you ahead in the career. So idea is any subject which you want to pursue, you need to have all knowledge about that subject, how, when, what. Know everything about it, and then I don't think you have to worry about anything. And what was the last question? I think we'll call it the last question for the session. I think there was one question, so 1 second. How to prepare for the entrance exams? See, there are books which I told you that you can get. Universal, for instance, has a guide. I don't think you need to go for a coaching for a law entrance. It's very simple. All you need to do is you need to solve those exams, learn a little bit of constitution, the basic articles like Article 14, 19, 21. You need to know the basics of law before you enter. And I think these books will help you, these universal books and all, which have those solved papers for past few years. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Keshav.
Anyone else who have a question? Okay, we have already exceeded the time because Tariq sir is delivering a lot of classes also, and then along with that, he's also having a lot of webinar in other hosting also. I request you all to follow those sessions also and follow his LinkedIn and Facebook page, so you may get a lot of information from there where and when he is delivering different sessions on different subject issues. So, and also apart from that, he write a lot in almost every day on his LinkedIn. So you get a lot of good knowledge, and he writes on live law also. So you get a lot of good knowledge from there. So important is that we continue to seek good knowledge and good place to work and move on and progress in our career. That is important. There may be a differentiation of law school. There may be a differentiation of places. There may be a differentiation in opportunities at different places. But these sessions are scheduled for the purpose of guidance of all those students who are from our fraternity, or they are yet to join the fraternity and looking to do LLB or BLLB. and want to make their career or pursue their career in law. So thank you so much, everyone participating. Thank you so much, Tariq sir, for taking out your time in this lockdown situation. And I try not to bother him much, just that I know, because he writes a lot, he reads a lot, he's engaged in a lot of office work also. But that's a good thing, and it's our good fortune, all of us, that he is able to take out time and give sessions and guidance to all our students and to all the new generation of lawyers and aspirants. Thank you so much, Tariq sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for this.
Have a good time. Be safe. Keep yourself at home, and follow the guidelines of the authorities. Thank you,
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.